Signs your vibration is changing. You're about to enter the fifth dimension. Something is happening to you. You feel it in your body, in your mind, in your soul. The world around you doesn't seem the same anymore. The things that once made sense now feel hollow. The people you used to connect with now seem distant, almost like they're operating in a different reality. And maybe they are because you are shifting. Your vibration is rising, your consciousness is expanding, and whether you realize it or not, you are stepping into a new dimension of existence. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when you awaken. But here's the thing about awakening, it's not always beautiful at first. In fact, it can feel like your world is falling apart. You start questioning everything. You start losing interest in things you once loved. You feel disconnected from society, from the routines that used to define you. And at times it can feel lonely, like you're standing on the edge of something vast and unknown, and there's no one there to guide you. But this is the first sign. When your vibration begins to change, the old reality starts to dissolve. The things that are not aligned with your new frequency will begin to fade away. This is not a punishment. This is not something to fear. This is evolution.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Have you noticed how your emotions feel more intense lately? How moments of joy feel deeper, but moments of sadness hit harder? This is another sign. Your energy field is expanding, and with that expansion comes a heightened sensitivity to everything. You are no longer just existing on the surface of life, you are feeling everything at a much deeper level. This is because the fifth dimension is not just a place, it is a state of being, a frequency of higher awareness. And as you shift into it, you will begin to experience reality in a way that most people cannot comprehend. Colors seem brighter. Sound feels richer. Time no longer moves in a linear way. You might find yourself experiencing déjà vu more often, seeing repeating numbers everywhere, or feeling an unexplainable sense of knowing about things before they happen. These are not coincidences. These are signs that your consciousness is expanding beyond the limitations of the third dimension. But there is something else that happens when your vibration changes. You start losing people. Not in a tragic way, but in an energetic way. The people who are not ready to shift with you will naturally begin to drift away. Conversations will feel forced. Their energy will feel heavy. Some will even try to pull you back into old patterns, not because they are bad people, but because they do not understand what is happening to you. And this is the hardest part, realizing that you cannot take everyone with you. Some people are simply not ready for this level of awareness. They are still trapped in fear, in limitation, in the belief that life is nothing more than what they can see and touch. But you are seeing beyond the illusion. You are stepping into a reality where thoughts manifest instantly, where time bends, where you are no longer controlled by the past or the expectations of others. And this is where the real test begins. Because when your vibration is changing, the universe will test you. You will be faced with old temptations, old fears, old doubts. Not because you are failing, but because you are being given a choice. Do you truly want to ascend, or will you fall back into comfort? And this is where most people get stuck. They feel the pull of the fifth dimension, but they are afraid to let go of the familiar. They are afraid to surrender to the unknown. But the unknown is where your highest self exists. And if you have made it this far, if you are feeling these shifts deep within your soul, then you are being called to step fully into your power. So let me ask you, are you ready to leave behind everything that no longer serves you? Because that is the only way forward. The fifth dimension is not something you visit, it is something you become, and once you step into it fully, there is no going back. the hidden symptoms of spiritual ascension that no one talks about, and how to navigate them without losing yourself. As your vibration shifts, something strange begins to happen. Your body, your mind, your emotions, everything starts changing in ways that don't always make sense. One moment, you feel an overwhelming sense of peace, like you are finally seeing the truth of reality. The next, you are exhausted beyond belief, as if something is pulling every ounce of energy from your soul. You wake up at odd hours of the night, sometimes between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., with a feeling that something is calling you. You start having vivid dreams, some of them beautiful, others completely bizarre, filled with symbols and messages that feel like they are coming from another realm. And the strangest part, you start noticing synchronicities everywhere. You think of someone and they call. You see repeating numbers -111, 222, 333 on clocks, license plates, receipts. It feels like the universe is trying to tell you something, and it is. What you are experiencing is spiritual ascension. Your vibration is rising, and your entire being is trying to adjust to the new frequency. But here's the part: no one talks about ascension is not always easy. It is not just a peaceful journey into enlightenment. It is a complete transformation of everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. And transformation is not comfortable. It requires you to let go of your old identity, your old patterns, your old attachments. And this is where many people struggle, because as much as they want to ascend, they are afraid of what they will lose in the process. One of the most common symptoms of ascension is feeling disconnected from reality. You look around and everything feels ... different. The places you used to go, the people you used to talk to, the things you used to enjoy, none of it resonates in the same way. It's almost as if you are living in two worlds at once: the old world that is fading away and the new world that is calling you forward. And this can feel incredibly isolating. You might feel like no one understands what you're going through. Like you are drifting further and further away from the life you once knew. But this is not a bad thing. This is a sign that you are shedding the illusion. The 3D world filled with fear, limitation, and control is losing its grip on you. And as uncomfortable as it may be, you are being prepared for something greater. Another symptom that no one warns you about is physical exhaustion. Your body is literally recalibrating itself to hold higher frequencies of energy. Your DNA is activating. Your nervous system is rewiring. Your cells are vibrating at a higher rate. This is why you might feel waves of exhaustion out of nowhere. One moment, you're full of energy; the next, you feel like you need to sleep for days. And if you resist this process, if you try to force yourself to keep up with the pace of the old world, you will burn out. The best thing you can do is honor your body, rest when you need to, drink more water than usual, spend time in nature. Your body knows what it is doing. Your job is to listen. Then there is the emotional roller coaster. One day you feel pure bliss, like you are in complete alignment with the universe. The next, you are hit with deep sadness, frustration, even anger. It feels confusing. Why are these old emotions coming up? Shouldn't you be feeling more enlightened, not more chaotic? But here's what you need to understand: ascension is not just about rising higher, it is about clearing out everything that is holding you back. You cannot carry old wounds, old traumas, old fears into the fifth dimension. And so, they will surface. They will come up in waves, asking you to face them, to heal them, to release them. This is not a sign that you are going backward. This is a sign that you are purging everything that no longer serves you. But perhaps the most intense symptom of all is the ego's resistance. Your ego, the part of you that identifies with the physical world, with your past, with your limitations, will fight to keep you from ascending. It will create doubt. It will tell you that you are imagining all of this, that you are just going crazy, that you should go back to your old ways, your old habits, your old habits, your old identity, and this is where many people give up. They fall back into the illusion because it feels safer, because the unknown is terrifying. But if you can recognize this resistance for what it is, a desperate attempt by the old self to survive, you can move through it. You can remind yourself that you are not losing yourself, you are evolving into your true self. So how do you navigate this transition without losing yourself? The first step is trust. Trust that what is happening to you is real. Trust that everything you are experiencing is leading you somewhere greater. The second step is surrender. Stop trying to control the process. Stop trying to hold on to what is leaving. Let go. Allow yourself to flow with the energy rather than resisting it. And the final step is grounding. Spend time in nature. Meditate. Move your body. Connect with your breath. Anchor yourself in the present moment so that you do not feel lost in the vastness of this transformation. But here's the real question: are you willing to let go of everything you thought you were in order to become everything you were meant to be? Because that is the price of ascension. You cannot take your past self into the future you are stepping into. You must be willing to die to the old in order to be reborn into the new. And this is where most people hesitate, because the unknown is terrifying, because transformation requires trust. But if you are feeling these symptoms, if you are experiencing these shifts, then the choice has already been made. You are on this path because your soul is ready. And once you fully embrace this process, once you stop resisting, once you allow yourself to rise, you will never see reality the same way again. The quantum leap: how to fully activate your 5D consciousness and step into your highest timeline. There comes a moment in every awakening where you stand at a crossroads. One path leads back to the familiar, to the comfortable, to the version of yourself that society shaped for you. The other path leads into the unknown, into a future where you are not bound by old limitations, where you are fully aligned with your highest self. And the truth is, most people hesitate at this moment. They feel the pull of expansion, but they also feel the grip of everything they have ever known trying to hold them back. This is the final test, the moment where you must decide whether you will fully activate your 5D consciousness and step into your highest timeline, or whether you will remain trapped in the cycles of the lower dimensions. But what does it mean to step into your highest timeline? It means that you no longer live by default. You no longer operate from fear, scarcity, or limitation. You are no longer controlled by external circumstances. Instead, you are fully conscious of your power as a creator of your own reality. In the 3D world, people believe that life happens to them. In the 5D world, you realize that life happens through you. That every thought, every emotion, every belief is shaping the reality you experience. That time is not linear, but fluid. That you are already existing across multiple timelines, and the one you experience is simply the one you are aligned with vibrationally. This is why so many people feel stuck, because they are unknowingly aligning with timelines of struggle, of limitation, of lack. They wake up every day expecting the same problems, the same struggles, the same disappointments, and so that is exactly what they attract. But when you activate your 5D consciousness, you realize that at any moment you can shift. You can choose a new reality. You can align with a timeline where things flow effortlessly, where opportunities appear, where you are no longer fighting against life but co-creating with it. But here's the part that most people don't understand: this shift does not happen through effort alone. It happens through frequency. Your vibration dictates your reality. If you want to step into a higher timeline, you must first become the version of yourself that already exists on that timeline. You must embody the energy of that reality before it manifests in physical form. This is why people who are constantly seeking, constantly chasing, constantly forcing things to happen often struggle, because their energy is still rooted in lack. They are trying to chase something that can only be accessed through alignment. So how do you activate your 5D consciousness and make the quantum leap into your highest timeline? The first step is detaching from the illusion of the 3D world. This does not mean ignoring physical reality, it means no longer being controlled by it. No longer reacting to every fear-based narrative. No longer believing that you are powerless. No longer accepting that suffering is necessary. The 3D world is built on control, on division, on keeping people trapped in survival mode. When you step into 5D consciousness, you rise above this. You realize that fear is an illusion, that lack is an illusion, that everything you have ever needed has always been within you. The second step is mastering your energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, these are the tools that shape your reality. Most people allow their energy to be dictated by external circumstances. They wake up in a bad mood because of something that happened yesterday. They lower their vibration because of a negative comment from someone else. But in 5D consciousness, you take full responsibility for your frequency. You become aware of what you are emitting at all times. You consciously choose thoughts that elevate you. You choose emotions that align with the reality you want to experience. You become the master of your inner world, and as a result, your outer world begins to shift. The third step is trusting the quantum field. In the 3D world, people believe that things must happen through force, through effort, through struggle. But in the 5D world, you understand that everything is already happening in the quantum field, that every possibility already exists, that the moment you align with a new reality vibrationally, it is already yours. The only thing that delays it is doubt, resistance, attachment to the old. When you fully trust, when you fully surrender, when you fully embody the energy of the life you desire, it manifests effortlessly. But here's where most people struggle letting go of the old identity. You cannot step into your highest timeline while still holding on to the version of yourself that is rooted in fear, in struggle, in doubt. You cannot activate your 5D consciousness while still entertaining thoughts of limitation. You must be willing to release everything that no longer aligns with who you are becoming. And this is where the quantum leap happens, not when you are still waiting for external proof, but when you decide right now that you are already that version of yourself, that you are already living in your highest timeline, that you are already the powerful, limitless being that you were always meant to be. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop waiting for your highest timeline to appear and start embodying it now? Because that is the only way to shift. The universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you are. And the moment you fully claim your power, the moment you fully embody the energy of your highest self, the entire universe will rearrange itself to match your new frequency. And once you make this shift, once you activate your 5D consciousness, there is no going back. Living beyond time, how to navigate reality when you no longer operate in linear time. Something strange happens when you fully step into 5D consciousness. Time no longer feels the same. The structured, linear progression of past, present, and future begins to dissolve. You experience déjà vu more often. You think about something, and it happens almost instantly. You start remembering things that haven't happened yet, feeling emotions tied to events that are still unfolding. Reality begins to feel fluid, as if you are walking through multiple timelines at once. And in many ways you are. Because in the fifth dimension, time is not a straight line. It is a field of infinite possibilities, all existing simultaneously. And once you grasp this, you are no longer bound by the constraints of time. You become a conscious traveler through reality, able to shift bend, and accelerate your manifestations in ways that seem impossible to those still operating in the old paradigm. But this shift can feel disorienting at first. You may find yourself losing track of time more often, feeling like days are blending together or speeding up. You may notice that memories from the past feel less real, almost like dreams that you are slowly waking up from. And this is because, in many ways, they are. When you ascend into 5D consciousness, you are no longer tethered to the linear cause and effect programming of the 3D world. You are stepping into a state where the past no longer defines you, where the future is not something you must wait for, but something you can merge with in the present moment. This is why manifestations happen faster in 5D, because you are no longer projecting your desires into a distant future, you are claiming them as already existing now. But here's where many people get stuck. Even though they are awakening to the fluid nature of time, they still hold onto the old belief systems that tell them things must take time, that change must be gradual, that healing must be a slow process. And as long as they believe this, they remain trapped in the illusion of linear time. But when you fully embrace your multidimensional nature, you realize that time is an agreement, a construct, a tool for experiencing reality, but not an unbreakable law. And when you stop seeing time as something outside of you and start seeing it as something you can shape, you begin to master reality in a way that few ever do. So how do you navigate life when you are no longer operating within the limits of linear time? The first step is to stop measuring your progress in the old way. You are no longer on a timeline that follows predictable steps. You may experience massive leaps forward seemingly overnight. You may go through intense periods of transformation where your entire reality shifts in ways that make no logical sense. And this is because you are now moving through quantum time, where change does not have to be gradual, it can be instant. The second step is to trust your intuition above all else. When you are no longer bound by linear time, logic alone will not always guide you correctly. You may feel pulled in a direction that makes no sense to your rational mind, but feels undeniably right in your soul. Follow that feeling, because in 5D, guidance comes from resonance, not reason. The third step is to embrace the unknown. The more you ascend, the less predictable reality becomes. You will find that rigid plans no longer work the way they used to, that life unfolds in unexpected ways, leading you to places you never could have planned for but are exactly where you need to be. This is because, in 5D, you are no longer forcing life to fit into a pre-designed structure. You are allowing the highest timeline to unfold naturally. And the more you trust this process, the more effortless life becomes. But here's the real question: are you willing to release your attachment to control and surrender to the flow of quantum time? Because this is the final step. Those who cling to certainty, to predictability, to the illusion of control will struggle in 5D. But those who surrender, who trust, who allow themselves to be guided by their highest frequency, these are the ones who become true masters of reality. And once you fully embrace this, once you stop resisting the fluid nature of time, you step into a state of effortless manifestation, unlimited creativity, and boundless expansion. And from that moment on, you are no longer just living in time, you are creating it.